What is up, Sooner Nation? I am Casey Mallon, and you are now in a Sooner state of mind. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Amazon Music. Sooner state of mind, family. What is good? When you hear that song, come crying like the wind. It seems like all this life was just a dream. You know, that was a pretty good dream last week, if that's what it was. I had a dream that our Oklahoma Sooners came out and stomped those Redbirds 35-3. Turns out it was not a dream. That was reality. And in his first game, John Mateer looked like the dude. 30 for 37, 392 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have the pick, but that's okay. Added 24 on the ground and another rushing touchdown. What a debut. Right up there, beats Baker's transfer in record for most yards, just 8 away from throwing for 400 yards. Overall, pretty sweet. Started a little slow. I know that had Sooner Nation panicking a little bit, but they really got it going after those first couple of drives, and then they were firing on all cylinders in that pass game, at least. And my question is, why were we ever playing Kanak on defense? Dude is a natural, and it might be the number 12, but he reminds me a lot of Drake Stoops, the fan favorite, sitting down in those zones, finding the tough yards, 3rd and 12 or 2nd and 12, whatever, getting 13 or 14. Man, I love the way this guy plays the position. Of course, he had the big fumble, but he bounced back, and he was balling, and I'm stoked. We might finally have an answer at tight end. It's been long enough, but I think we got it. And also, speaking of reminding me of some of my favorite Sooners, Mateer reminds me a lot of Baker. Just the fire in his play, how excitable he gets the fan base and the team. And man, rocket fire, baby. This guy has a cannon. He throws guys open. He anticipates routes, and it's only going to get better. I know the competition's going to get a little tougher, but Mateer definitely looks like he is the real deal. And as Vanillas, they kept it. They still had a ton of different looks, hitting the edges in both directions, some motion, different routes. And I know it's still a work in progress, and we have to get that run game going. Of course, we were without 3 starters last week. I think that probably impacted the running game for the Sooners. I'm not going to panic yet, but it's got to get better. Let's give it a little time. But like I said, it's going to be a tougher opponent, and the schedule from here on out does not get any easier. It actually gets a lot more difficult. Defense, almost perfect. Maybe tackle a little bit better early on. They missed a couple tackles, but that was it. First half, they got that stuff dialed in, and then it was fine. Gilroy, oh my God, this guy is going to be a good player. Holy smokes. Kendall Daniels, stud. Loved what I saw out of the defense. They're going to be a problem, and they're only going to get better, and they're going to keep that rotation up front in waves. Solid up front, solid just everywhere. It was good to see Gentry back out there too. Bowen had a couple nice tackles, and it's just playmakers galore there, and they didn't even really have to send much pressure, and that will be a different situation this weekend. So, but overall, very impressive game for this Sooners defense. I know we struggle with the run game, though, but Blaylock, a punishing runner. He was doing lots of work, in the Sooners backfield when he came in. Unfortunately, he left that game in the third quarter. But Blaylock, the best Blaylock at OU since Mookie Blaylock. Mookie Blaylock turned into Pearl Jam. If Tory can turn into the equivalent of the Pearl Jam of the Blaylock transformation, watch out, baby. Yeah, he was a highlight on the offense. That passing game was great. Defense maybe gave up 35 yards in the second half. So I just love what I saw out of this team from opening week, and it's only going to get better. And I really love what I heard BV said. He said, confidence is created through hard work. And you saw that confidence on full display last week. So that means the boys are putting in that hard work, and they love every bit of it, being in the slop, trying to out-compete their teammates. It's all gravy, baby. It's going up from here. And with that win, the Sooners move into a 14-team tie for first place in the SEC, while Texas, 2 S's, and Bama are tied for last place in the conference. Speaking of Bama, they're finding life much, much harder without Nick Saban. Seen a lot of qualities or lack thereof out of this Bama team that would have never have flown under the Saban regime. They should be fine this week, but man, you know those cats down there are losing their freaking minds. But this, I think, was more about Florida State and that defense and Tommy Castellano at quarterback. He was doing some of this stuff last year at BC, and he looked incredible. Now he's on this squad. Oh, my gosh. They look like they are going to be a problem. Get that big win. We'll see. It's a long season, but I love what I saw out of them. Gavin Sawchuk, good for him. He had a couple nice runs. It was good to see. Had the touchdown where he just kind of bulled his way in there. Still not looking fast, but he got the touchdown. And what a scene at Doak, man. Usually I'm not into storming the field, especially week one, but that was a big-time win, a big-time statement win, especially after going 2-10 last year. I love it. Great for the Noles. We'll see if they can keep that going, but that is going to be a fun team to watch this season and kind of coming out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting them to do much, and now it looks like they will compete there in the ACC and get into that college football playoff. Potentially. I know, throwing all these absolutes out there after week one, got to pump the brakes a little bit, but that's okay. Big game up at the Shoe in Ohio State. The defending national champs, disrespected at home, came in as the third-ranked team. Texas, 2 S's, came in there, the number one ranked team. They go down 14-7, and they are the first number one ranked team to lose week one since 1990. Ouch. Didn't look great. That defense was solid. Arch struggled, and a lot of people are piling on. Not necessarily going to do that. They anointed this guy. It was the first pick in the draft next year, was going to do all this stuff. Should have benched Ewers last year for this guy. And I'm sure he's going to get better, but it was not pretty. It's a tough team over there. So he struggled, made some bad plays. Guys weren't really getting open, but yeah, sorry, Texas. We're really choked up about you choking away the number one ranking going into the season. Really hate to see that happen to such a good team with such a high payroll. And then Sunday, LSU beat Clemson in a very physical game. I really liked watching that football game. LSU, man, they were impressive. Nussmeier, impressive. But what really stood out was that defense. If they've gotten that sorted out, that's going to be a tough, tough team moving forward. And a lot of people already had them winning the SEC. And by the looks of what we saw on Sunday, night, that might be in the cards for them. It's early. I know. We're going crazy over week one, but still, you got to trust what you saw at least a little bit. And then on Monday night, saw the Bill Belichick debut, and it did not go the way that they thought. The TCU Horned Frogs go into Chapel Hill and blow out North Carolina 48-14. Now, granted, North Carolina is in total transition. What they brought in like 70 new players or something like that. Not even all of them before spring ball. It's a work in progress. It is going to get better, but you saw non-Bill Belichick type stuff happening in that game, but you don't know what you have until your players, until you get them out there and see what they can do. They'll keep churning this roster. I trust him and Lombardi to get it going, but TCU looked great in that game. Of course, they had a little help, but still. My question, though, is why wasn't Max Johnson starting? He came in and gave that offense life. I know the game was kind of already done at that point, but he had the offense at least functioning. They do have to work on their run game, but at least when he was in there, it was moving. They were functioning. So a lot of self-inflicted mistakes from the heels, turnovers, a couple scoop and score, et cetera, et cetera. But at least we had Monday Night Football, right? That's something. But the Horned Frogs, man, they're definitely going to compete in the Big 12. And then you look at Bill Belichick, his last two games, counting the last one with the Patriots and this one, his teams have been outscored 65-17. Ouch. Maybe some of that has to do with not having Tom Brady. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Bill Belichick is a fine coach, and they will get it turned around there. But they are going to take some lumps this year, although the schedule gets much easier. But it's going to be a minute. 5 straight days of football was good, people. And week 2 is coming up. And we have a huge game. Number 15, Michigan, is coming to Norman to take on our 18th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. And shockingly, this is only going to be the second time these teams have played. The first time was 1976 in the Orange Bowl. Our Sooners won 14-6. Sooners led by the king, that's right, Barry Switzer. They capped off an undefeated season and claimed that 1975 national championship with the win. But between these two squads, lots of history, lots of tradition, almost 2,800 games between them, with almost 2,000 of them being wins, 19 national championships, 10 Heisman winners, 312 first-team All-Americans, and over 800 players drafted into the NFL between Michigan and OU. We're talking the bluest of the blue bloods. And hopefully at the end of the day on Saturday, the blood on the field will belong to the blue. They looked pretty good last week. It was just New Mexico. But everybody is completely stoked about the true freshman, Bryce Underwood, quarterback, 6'4", about 210, physical, strong. He's got a live arm, too. This guy was the number 1 overall recruit coming out of high school. Had over 11,000 passing yards in high school, 152 touchdowns, and a 50-4 record. Not bad. He joined Michigan early last year, got to participate in bowl practices and spring training, and it really helped him learn the offense. This dude has NFL traits, quick release, good anticipation. Last week, 21-31, 251 yards, a touchdown. Pretty accurate. That was actually the Michigan freshman record at quarterback. And what really stood out was the 2-minute drill he did right before halftime. 8 plays, 75 yards, a minute 31 to get the touchdown. And that kind of put that game away, gave them the 2-touchdown lead at halftime. And that was basically a wrap. Chip Lindsey, their offensive coordinator, is really working with Underwood, trying to make like a creative pro spread offense. So it looks like Underwood is definitely picking it up, and that quarterback in this team is going to be a problem. But you know what? The Sooners have their own starting quarterback with skill level off the chart. Like I said, John Mateer coming off a record-setting day in his Sooner debut. And I think what we got last week is just a taste of what this dude is capable of. We saw some of that shiftiness in the pocket, avoiding the rush, and in the run game. Just like planted that leg and went. Avoided a lot of big tackles. Could have gotten out of bounds on one, took a big hit. But that running game is going to be part of what he does. And there is plenty more. All them fix ends. Looked like he had instant chemistry with Deion Burks and Keontez Lewis. Lewis looked nice. A healthy Burks looked nice. Between those two, 16 receptions, 207 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Also, talked about him up front, Jaren Kanak, his first game at tight end, 5 grabs, 90 yards, 18 yards of reception. And I mentioned the Stoops vibes, but I believe he's only going to get better as he gets more acclimated. He is going to have, stick with me here, a Stutzman-type season, but on the offensive side of the ball. That juice that Danny brought to the defense, I think Kanak's going to bring to the offense. So those cats had the bro down every week last year, and I think Kanak's going to take some of that energy and bring it and distribute it this year. And I believe Kanak will be vying for that highly coveted role as everyone's favorite Sooner. If he puts together more games like he had last week, Kanak's 90 yards receiving was the most by a Sooner tight end since our guy Braden Willis had 102 receiving yards back in 2022. We've been jonesing for quality play out of the tight end. So much that people wanted to run Joe John out of town. Did Kanak fall into his lap? I don't know. Maybe. Who cares? We're getting the production that we wanted, and I think there's more of that to come, and I still think there's more that this dude could do in the offense, maybe at some other positions, but I'll take what I can get right there. It was fun to watch him be so dynamic at that position. Head and shoulders above what it was last year, not only at tight end, but at receiving. Man, we could not throw the rock last year so far. I know it's just one game in, but it looks like throwing and getting the big plays downfield will not be a problem. You saw the incredible pass that Mateer put on Burks, the one-handed catch, and a couple of those touchdowns. He led Lewis and Burks away. They were untouched, put it right on him, and they walked right into the end zone. Love what I'm seeing early out of the receiving core, and we haven't even seen the Gibsons yet. Jaden Gianni not even playing. So I think it is just a matter of time before this offense really takes off. Satania had a couple nice returns and looks very shifty out there. I think this guy is going to have some big-time contributions to the offense as well. So lots to be excited for, especially in that passing game. Now, I would be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little bit concerned with the running game. We were missing 3 starters last week, but it's always a big but. It did look a lot different when Tory Blaylock came into the game. A lot different. And unfortunately, he left the game with that shoulder injury. And as of now, we're not sure as to the extent of that injury. And I don't want to speculate, but it does sound like he could be out a while. BV praised him and his talent and his future potential. BV, coach speak was non-committal on the immediate availability of Blaylock. He said that he's got a great future in front of him, but he did not confirm that he would return for the game this weekend. And the murmurs out there are making it sound like it might be a little bit longer than that. So it'd be great to have him back for Texas, if not before, but it's pure speculation at this point. Maybe we'll hear more as the game gets closer. So Blaylock out, what's that mean? Plenty of opportunity for someone to step up and run with it. Literally run with it. And hopefully that someone is Jaden Ott. Ott was super limited last week. Didn't know if he was going to get any carries. Maybe the injury late got him in there. He's set up to return, but we knew he wasn't going to do much. During his weekly coaches show, Venables did make it clear that we should expect to see a bunch more from Ott. BV said he's missed a lot of practice, but you're going to see more of him. A lot of Ott. I like it a lot. BV also said he was banged up last year and banged up in camp, but looks close to 100%. He's a real weapon, and I think he'll play a real factor in our season moving forward, and we are going to need it. That's also opportunity for Barnes, X, and Taylor Tatum. They're all going to be in the mix, and the same as it was last year, opportunity. But last year, no one was able to seize it. Part of that was because of the O-line, but it just never got going. Hopefully that is not the case this year. We're going to get healthier up front, and I think we will be able to run the rock. It just might take a little bit to get there. And that Michigan defense is legit. But something to remember, this Michigan team, 2 years removed from beating Bama in Saban's last game, then going on to win the Natty. Then they lost their QB, their running back, their head coach, their defensive coordinator, and even so, they finished last year. Sooner leading the helm, but nonetheless by beating Ohio State on the road and then beating Bama, Alabama, again in a bowl game. They have, in Underwood, the most expensive college QB ever, allegedly. But that's what we want, right? We want all the smoke. This is going to be a great test for our Sooners. It's going to start, though, up front. Can we stop Justice Haynes? Dude had 3 TDs last week. One of them was a 56-yard TD run and then a 59-yard run. Got tackled at the one, put it in on a short carry. 159 yards rushing. That's a little bit scary, but another big but, people. 115 of those yards came on 2 carries, and then the other 44 came on 14 carries or just 3.1 per. So if we can stop the home run threat, those big runs, make him earn everything, not miss tackles, that should work out for us. Besides those 2 big runs, he didn't have a single rush over 8 yards last week. If we can do the same, taking out those ginormous runs, then we're going to be okay. And I guarantee we're going to bring a lot of pressure on Underwood. He's got the tools to scramble, but he'd like to stay back there and throw the ball. So let's not give him any time to do that. He is going to see a ton of things he has never seen before. I guarantee that. And it is going to be relentless. And we have to win both lines of scrimmage. And I think we'll be able to do that defensively. Let's see if we can get that run going to keep them honest. But I trust Mateer back there to throw, and I trust his legs too. But, man, it would be nice to have a complete complementary offense. But I think the defense is going to have Underwood seeing some ghosts. And you know what? The only Wolverines I like are the ones fighting off the commie invasion in the 1984 cinematic masterpiece Red Dawn. Charlie Sheen, Patrick Swayze, C. Thomas Howell, Leah Thompson, Jennifer Grey. They were defending their hometown from hostile invaders, and that's what our Sooners must do on Saturday. And if we can get this game, it will go a long way to setting up the rest of the season, or at least until mid-October. Beat these dumb Wolverines next week at Temple, then hosting JFA and the Auburn Tigers. Slam in a nice bye week to get healthy before we welcome Kent State into town. And then it's the hated ones. If we can get this game on Saturday, I love our chances of going to the Cotton Bowl at 5-0. I know. First things first, right? The next game is the most important game, which is this Saturday. And if we lose this one, none of that other crap matters. So got to go out and handle our business. It is going to be freaking rocking. 85,000 going absolutely nuts. It's not going to have been an environment like this in a long time. This is special, people. This is Blue Bloods going at it for the first time in the regular season in a long-ass time. This is a big freaking deal. And we get past this, we're sitting pretty and have some good stuff in front of us. And I know it's only one game in, but it feels like we have the team. Dude, so many freshmen and sophomores on this team. It's ridiculous. The waves of talent are going. The coaching staff is here. The quarterback is here. Swaggy Nagy's got his team together, baby. We are building a monster, but to prove that, it's got to start on Saturday. This is the marquee game of the weekend. All the eyeballs will be watching. We're going to have a ton of recruits in the house watching this game. It is important that we come out and handle our business and make that home field advantage like it was. You don't come into Norman and get a dub. You just don't do it. That's our house. That's where we dominate. And we get an opportunity to do that on Saturday. And I'm freaking stoked for it, people. And if you stay stoked, you don't have to get stoked. And when you are stoked, you are in a Sooner state of mind. You feel me? We have a few good games this weekend. Nothing like last week, but there's some stuff to occupy your time until you get to our nightcap. Iowa at number 16, Iowa State. The Cyclones are 3.5-point favorites. And Beck is playing some great football, man. All right, Rocco. I love what he's doing. Had, I think, one incompletion last week. It's going to be a team that's going to be in the mix, man. The battle for Iowa. We got Baylor at number 17, SMU. Stangs are 3.5 3-point favorites in this one, trying to get back to the college football playoff. Man, a couple mistakes got them buried in that thing last year. So with the way we've seen Florida State, man, these ponies got to get it going. Okie State at number 6, Oregon. Oregon, 28.5-point favorites, man. And Gundy just going off on the Ducks and Phil Knight's big-ass deep pockets. Ruffling some feathers over there. See what I did? But if Gundy keeps it up, man, the Pokes are going to be wearing Skechers next year. Nike will not be the official gear for them. Gundy burning it all down. Number 20, Ole Miss at Kentucky. Ole Miss, 10.5-point favorites post Jackson Dart era. See what these guys can do. A nice SEC battle there. South Florida at number 13, Florida. Gators, 17.5-point favorites in this game. Could this game actually be kinky? South Florida looked pretty nice last week, but so did Florida. Lots of expectation on these Gators. I know I will be rooting for them in a couple weeks, so go ahead and drop this one to South Florida. I don't think they will, but they have an important game coming up that they have to win. And then we got number 12, Arizona State at Mississippi State. Sun Devils, 6.5-point favorites, going down to play Levy's Bulldogs. ASU trying to run that Big 12 back-to-back seasons, going down into a hostile environment down there. We'll see what happens, but I like Levitt, and I like that squad, and they're probably going to be fine this Saturday. Oh, baby. I'm just completely stoked for Saturday. Can't get here soon enough. But if you need to kill a little time to get you to Saturday, head on over to Believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. Go to shows, type in Sooner State of Mind. That is Sooner State of Mind. And you're locked, people. Ton of great content. Every team, every topic, everywhere. Believe.com. And if you want to watch Sooner State of Mind, head on over to YouTube and search the Football Dudes. We are there. Got a kick-ass NFL Week 1 preview there too. Get your college on Saturday and then get your pro on Sunday. So much quality football talk at footballdudes.com. And in case you forgot, my name is Casey Mallon, and I am in a Sooner state of mind. Sooner state of mind. Sooner state of mind.